Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Thank you for joining us this morning. I feel like it's been forever since I've been on. I was listening since I've seen you all. I guess I technically don't get to see you. You get to see me. But it feels like it's been forever. It feels like forever. But we want to welcome you this morning to Purpose Journey Counseling LLC Locked In. We are still locked in for 2024. And I guess it has been a couple of weeks because we've been a little bit ill, a little ill, but praise God, we have been on the mend and we're doing well. So we are so glad to see you this morning. Yeah, we see you this morning. We see you. We see you. So we're so glad that you are here with us this morning. Today is Wednesday, May 29th. It is the last Wednesday in May. Wow. Wednesday, May 29th, 2024. And on behalf of Purpose Journey Counseling, my name is Dr. Natatu North, and I'm the owner and one of the therapists at Purpose Journey Counseling LLC, which is located in Cincinnati, Ohio. So we are grateful that you have tuned in. We're live at 7 a.m., but whether you catch us live at 7 a.m. or you catch us later in the day, later in the week, later in the month, or even later in the year, we are grateful for you and we want to welcome you. But currently at 7 a.m., we are live on Facebook and YouTube. And the YouTube link for this broadcast is posted on Instagram. So we ask that you take just a few moments to please like the broadcast, follow us on your preferred social media platform. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I always say, even if you don't catch us on YouTube, usually that's okay. But if you could please subscribe to our YouTube channel, we'll be greatly appreciative of your subscription. And please share this broadcast. These broadcasts, if it's your first time joining us, welcome. Don't stop scrolling. Don't stop scrolling, I should say. Stop scrolling. Don't keep scrolling. But these messages are honestly meant to be empowering and encouraging. They're not very long. So we like to share the good things. You know, we share stuff we see. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's stuff we probably really shouldn't share because maybe it's not all that great, to be sharing. However, these are meant to be encouraging and empowering. So it's always nice to share those type of messages with people. And let's also interact and engage in the comment section. So before we go further, I always share this information when we're together. The number for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, the number is 988. Again, that number is 988. The number is 24/7. You can call this number and you can text this number. So there are people readily available to assist, to help, to aid if there's some type of mental health crisis. So please make sure you have this number available. I say this too, if you memorize it, that's fine. But please, please, please make sure that you have it available to give to someone in a moment of crisis, because you never know, you may need it or someone else may need it. So let's make sure we have the needed resources. Thank you so much for doing that. So May has been Mental Health Awareness Month, and it is actually coming to a close. However, we do emphasize that mental health awareness needs to be our priority at all times. From January 1st to December 31st, we need to make sure that we are paying attention to mental health, that we are aware of our own personal mental health, as well as ways to support each other in the mental health struggles that, different individuals may face. But we set aside May to look at mental health awareness. But as we're ending out the month on Wednesdays, we come together for our Wellness Wednesdays. So kind of ending out the month of May, we've been talking about mental health all month. We really talk about mental health all year, but we have definitely been emphasizing the importance of mental health awareness all month. And today for our Wellness Wednesday, as we kind of wrap up this month, I just want to kind of share some things with you from the topic of you are not alone. You're not. It doesn't matter what your mental illness may be, whether it's been diagnosed or it hasn't been diagnosed. If it's something you've been struggling with your entire life, or something that you've been struggling with for the past couple of years, for the past 6 months, maybe you just experienced a traumatic event within the last 3 months, and it's something that you just haven't been able to shake, and you're struggling, you don't know what to do, you don't know where to turn, you feel like this isn't normal for me, I don't know how I'm supposed to handle this, what am I supposed to do with this? I want to tell you today, you are not alone. Yes, everyone has their own sets of issues. Everyone has their own sets of concerns, but mental illness is something that a lot of people deal with. grief is something that a lot of people deal with. And just as a statement, just to say, grief is also something that we need to make sure that we are actually attending to, because grief comes in, there's different stages of grief. They come and they go, and they come and they go, and they come and they go. And then it's something you just kind of deal with over the course of life. But I just want to emphasize this morning that you're not alone. None of us were not alone. There are mental health professionals that are available to help you to deal with whatever your mental health needs and concerns may be. The hope and prayer is that you have, a natural support system as well, friends, family, people like that, who can be someone to turn to as well. But even when that natural support system tends to be a little bit more difficult to cultivate, there are people out here who do care and will work with you on whatever your concerns may be. Even if you're feeling different things and you say, excuse me, I know that this is not my norm. This is not how I usually am. This is not how I usually respond to situations. Something's not right, but I don't know exactly what it is. When you get into the therapeutic environment, that's one of the things, that we work on together, is you just come in and you talk about what's going on, and we figure out together, okay, maybe these are some of the factors, contributing factors, things like that, trying to identify and pinpoint, what could have maybe caused some of the things you're going through. It doesn't, I know sometimes people think, oh, well, I don't need to go to therapy because this ain't that deep. Like, I'm going to be able to bounce back in a couple of months. So, I don't need to go talk to anybody because this is only going to last me a couple of months. Sometimes we say that. Sometimes we do think that. And sometimes it doesn't only last a couple of months. Or sometimes those couple of months are so bad that you still need to talk to somebody. And then maybe after those couple of months, you might need to talk to somebody weekly. And then after that, you might need to just check in, every other week, or maybe even once a month. But it's just important that we are able to identify the need to connect with other people, the need for us to address the issues and concerns that we have. The issue is that when we have our own personal concerns and our own personal things that we're not dealing with, it affects our relationships with other people too. Sometimes we're not able to love people the way that we should love them. We're not able to even interact with people the way we should be interactive with them. We're not able to truly function in a way that is at our best, our optimal level. We're not able even to do that because we've got stuff going on. It could be stuff from childhood. It could be stuff, from years ago, like I said, or it could be recent things. It doesn't matter. And I don't want you to think that, well, this is something that I've dealt with for the last 30 years. So how am I going to fix this now? You'd be amazed. You'd be amazed at what can happen when you take the time to just sit and deal with yourself. Whether it's something you've been dealing with, or I should say not dealing with. Maybe you've avoided it, dealing with it for the last 30 years. But then you actually take the time to go sit down with somebody who didn't know you 30 years ago, who didn't know anything you went through. They're just going off of what you're saying. And they're, learning about the situation based off, what you're reporting. But then they actually help you to process and to deal with the things that you've been struggling with for the last 30 years. Just imagine how much better you're going to be for yourself. And then in turn, what that looks like, with your relationships with other people, when you're able to really identify what the concerns are. Sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we just don't know. We're not exactly sure what it is. We don't understand why we struggle to deal with people. We don't understand, why we tend to get depressed, every couple of weeks. We may not know what it is, but being able to tap into that and actually have those resources and support systems available to, help us to manage the things that we're struggling with is important. So even again, if you feel like you don't have that natural support system, or you really don't have a lot of people in your corner, when you're going through things, you feel like, oh, I really don't have anyone to talk to, really, like there's not really a whole lot of people. You're still not alone, and you're not even the only person who feels that way, or not the only person who has those experiences. So it's important for us to understand that there are people available. There is a community of mental health professionals, from therapists with all different type of licensure to psychologists, psychiatrists, even if medication may be needed, there are resources available. And sometimes just being able to tap into them is what's difficult. I'll say one of the things is if you do have health insurance, one of the ways to find out who takes your health insurance, and even first of all, finding out, making sure, I should say, that your insurance covers, it might be under behavioral health or mental health services, making sure they cover that. And if they don't, making sure they cover that. I'm just going to say that, making sure they cover that because it needs to be covered. Then finding professionals who take your insurance, whom you can use your insurance for. I know money tends to be an issue with copays and deductibles, and sometimes the insurances don't cover it. We need to be better advocates for mental health services being covered. It bothers me when I see that, hey, your insurance doesn't even cover this at all. Forget a copay, doesn't even count towards your deduct. They don't even cover it at all. It's bothersome, but we need to be advocating for these things to be covered. And to ensure that we're able to get the services that we need. I always say money should never be an issue. I understand that. I'm a therapist. I own a private practice. I understand this is a job, yes, but we've got to get to a point where we start to care more about people than money. I'm just going to say that because money's a thing, yeah, but at the same time, we need to be taking care of each other because we're responsible. We are our brother and our sister's keepers. So we're responsible for each other. But there are providers who will do self-pay as well. If you don't have insurance or if your insurance doesn't cover it, and a lot of providers will work with you to make it affordable. So we need to prioritize our mental health. We've been talking about that all month. It has to be something that we deal with. It has to be something that we face, even though it can be very challenging. It could be a very, very hard situation to have to, unveil things that have happened. You may start talking about things that you've never talked about to any living human being in the past. But it's amazing what happens when you start to reveal those things. And it's amazing what happens when you allow healing to take place. Because sometimes we're stopping our healing. We're not healed sometimes because we don't want to really do anything about it, or we don't know what to do. But that's why this morning I just wanted to just encourage and empower you to know that you're not alone. You're not the only person who has experienced suicidal thoughts. You're not the only person that has self-harmed. You're not the only person that experiences anxiety, or when you get in large crowds, you don't feel comfortable or you have panic attacks. You're not the only person who sometimes struggles to focus, or you're very impulsive and it affects your ability to even perform your work duties the way you're supposed to. Even as an adult, ADD is, or ADHD, ADD, whichever, it's real, even for adults. Yes, it is. It is a real thing. So you're not alone. You are not alone. So because you're not, I just encourage you to make it a priority. Doing check-ins with yourself, checking in on your mental health. How am I feeling mentally today? How am I feeling emotionally? How am I feeling physically? How am I feeling spiritually? We tend to wake up in the morning. The first thing we notice is we're either tired or exhausted, or, we're ready for the day. But we tend to feel what's going on in our body first. Okay, my body hurts, or my back hurts. I didn't sleep right. We tend to notice those things, but we need to be cognitive of, what's going on in our brains as well. We need to make sure that we're paying attention to what's going on in our minds. What's our mental state? I need to be cognizant of that when I'm waking up in the morning, as I'm going through the day, checking in with myself to see how am I responding to whatever's going on that day. It's important because I might wake up at 6 a.m. and I know that mentally, like, okay, I'm fine. But by 2:30, I might not be where I need to be. So being able to check in is important. So again, you're not alone. There are people available. You can Google it, going on your insurance. You can look up that information on insurance to see who's in your network. is important. Who's in your network is probably going to be cheaper than who's not in your network. There's Psychology Today. There's even for those who kind of tend to look for more like African American therapists or people of color, there's actually a directory for that as well. And I'll make sure we have that information. We're sharing that information on here. But there's so many resources, there's so many tools, and it's amazing. I see people on social media sharing information like that too, just regularly, just sharing it. So let's help each other. Let's support each other. Let's be those natural supports that sometimes we're lacking. It could just be somebody you'd never met them in person, but they're a tremendous help to you, and giving you some tools and resources that you need. So you're not alone. We're not alone. We just need to make sure that we're supportive to each other, but making sure that we are advocating for ourselves. We have to advocate for ourselves so we can make sure we're getting what we need. So thank you so much for tuning into our Wellness Wednesday today. Just as a reminder, we have our Wellness Wednesdays every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we have our monthly podcast, Hashtag from a Christian, Hashtag from a Therapist with Dr. Natatu on the first Sundays of the month, live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yes. I've told you to mark your calendars. Going to remind you again. We do have our podcast on this Sunday, June the 2nd, live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be having a new theme for the month of June. The flyer will be out very, very shortly. So I won't share until the flyer comes out, but the flyer will be out very shortly. Very, very shortly. We'll just say that. So tune in on this Sunday at 7 p.m. It's going to be episode 21. Episode 21. It is going to be something a little bit different, but something very, very important that we're going to be sharing. Because it will be we. We'll be sharing on Sunday at 7 p.m. So mark your calendars, plan to join, watch our social medias, because we will be posting the flyer very, very shortly. Very, very shortly. So again, we thank you for tuning in this morning, whether you tune in regularly or if this was your first time. We pray and we hope that this Wellness Wednesday was something that kind of empowered you a bit and let you know, like, okay, I feel like I can do this. And I've been thinking about doing this therapy thing. I've even looked up some therapists. I just haven't really called them, haven't emailed them yet. But we hope and pray that this kind of gives you that extra push that you need to be able to get the help that you are deserving of. So our tag for Purpose Journey Counseling, every time we are together, I want to encourage you to be loving, be kind, be compassionate, and be intentional towards others as well as towards yourselves. And we will see you on Sunday, Lord willing. We'll see you on Sunday, put up there again at 7 p.m. for our monthly podcast. We pray that you have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Be safe, love on yourself and love on each other, and blessings and love to each and every one.